And ladies and gentlemen, the Friday feeling, it's a flowing. It's the end of the week. We've got one more day. It's going to be a good one. I always walk away from the car, then have to walk back to it because I can't remember whether I locked it or not. What I've been doing recently is I've been trying to get out of my political bubble that I live in. Which is strange actually, because I don't actually think I live in my own political bubble. But I'm trying to get out there and see what other people's opinions are on politics and stuff. I really want to make some kind of video about it all. But I know it's such a divisive thing, and the problem is that it's not conversational enough, you know? Today was a bit of a wine day, ladies and gentlemen. We had such a shit day trying to get something to run at work. It was actually quite a good day, but it was really fucking irritating. We've changed something from using one technology into a new technology, and it's a pain in the arse. We got it, the code's all done and ready and rocking and rolling, but we tried to deploy it, and we can test it all locally and it all works fine, but you try to deploy it and it just will not deploy. Raised issues because originally the firewall wouldn't let it talk to the message bus and stuff. Something else for a bit, and then came back to it, and then now that's cleared, and actually we've got a problem because the SSIS scripts are just running out and dying on us and giving us zero information because SSIS is an absolute pile of shit. It's not been a grand day. It's actually been alright though, because one of our BA contractor has retired, so we had like a nice snacks and stuff on the team, and bacon sandwiches for breakfast, which was delicious. Otherwise we've been having a chilled out night so far. Laura's been falling asleep. I said to her, Bubba, it's time to get up. It's time to get up, we're going to go to bed. She goes, I know, Bubba, I emailed you. Straight back to sleep again. Me tweeting about that was what all of those ding 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 dings were about a minute ago. I think it would be really interesting to do some kind of political content video. But I think it's going to be really difficult to do. I don't think it's going to be possible. I don't think it's something that suits me just talking to you, because it's just preachy, and why do you care? And it will come across wrong and all that kind of stuff, and I think it'll be difficult to either arrange and also, what fucking time do I have? I want to do my own project, but part of me wants to investigate using this technology for work. But Laura's forbidden me from doing work at the weekend, so I've got to do my project and stuff as well. But yeah, potentially a live stream, but then I don't know whether it would suit being more curated, so that I could pick people who are more comfortable and more willing to talk about their opinions on camera, and then also be able to split it out so that you could have essentially representatives of each party or point of view. Problem is, it's quite difficult to curate something like that, because obviously everyone I know is someone somewhat similar to me, although they may have difficult political views. They obviously come from the same kind of background, and live streams I've done before have all been from people from university. The best way, which would be much harder to organise technologically, and to stop it to just turn into a shitfest, would be to have kind of an open, anyone can come on and say whatever they want, and then I think that's better because it's just more normal people. Either way, I'm talking about it. It's never going to happen, so don't get too excited. We've decided to spend our Saturday in a museum. I don't know. It's quite a strange Bristol museum. Don't know how bubby that bike is compared to that. Look how exciting this is, guys. Look, you can see, discover the treasure underneath the floorboards. Yeah, ignore that though, because it ruins the surprise. Laura said that, but I cut her off, so I'll take the joke. Got a cool old bus though that you can actually go on, look. Oh, that's cool. It is, yeah. We don't know what that is, but it's raining, so we're not even going to have a look, and no one else is either. Also, look, these are on real boats, by the way. I didn't think much of that museum place. I thought it was like an engineering museum with a science-esque museum, but with engineering. Does that make sense? It was the kind of museum that's a load of old tat that they're oh, look at this. The bus was the best part of it, so you saw the best part, don't bother going. Otherwise, it's been raining all day today, which is why we went somewhere indoors to do stuff. And we went to go and have some food at this nice little market thing. We've always thought about getting stuff from there, but never really committed to it. It was really nice. We had Caribbean wraps. I had a goat one, Laura had a jerk chicken one, and then we came back here, and then we decided I've been hanging my nose over purchasing something for a very long time, and then I've finally gone about and done it, ladies and gentlemen. I purchased a home. We don't actually have anything like what you would consider smart. Like, we don't have like a smart light bulbs or anything like that. There's no real point. I don't really see the point in it. I think if you had a big house where you wanted to like integrate lots of different things all at once, then you'd be all about that. But for us here, it's not. We're never too far away from light switches or anything like that. But we've been playing with it and it's been great. I love it. It's fucking so cool, and I'm glad I finally bought one. I love how much smaller it is as well. It's just like so much smaller than the Echo, and I love the way that it integrates with my Google account and things like this. Hey Google, watch Rick and Morty on the TV.
Sure, Rick and Morty from Netflix. Playing on the TV.
That is the fucking best. Hey Google, stop. So that is the single main reason why I purchased it. But yeah, otherwise there's like a lot of other good stuff that it can do at the moment, which is just basic things. I'm actually quite a big like Google user in a way. But the biggest thing that's annoying me is I keep Googling how to do stuff, and it's all giving me, it's like, yeah, you can do this. I can hook it up with my to-do list app. So I can say, hey Google, put this on my to-do list app. Shut up, don't listen to me. There's like a huge list of features that are available in America that aren't available here. Like that, like multiple users. So at the moment, like I'm signed into it, so it's got my account and it's got my Netflix account, my Spotify account. In America, you can have multiple accounts, and that's just like your Google account. You can have multiple Netflix accounts, all this kind of crap. And you're like, why? Why is it? And the problem is, like, I Google it, and it's like, this is a feature. It works. It's available. No, it's not though, because it's not outside of the US. It really irritates me how Google seem unable to roll out features across the board. And the thing is, we both speak English. I could partially understand if I was speaking like Spanish or something like a different language. I could understand why you might roll out features on a language by language basis. I don't understand why you can't just roll out that feature. Like, what is the reason that I can't talk to my to-do list app? I could maybe guess that multi-user means you've got to recognise voices and accents might be a little bit more difficult. I don't buy that as an excuse, but it's just irritating. So, get on it, Google. Yeah, I've wanted to buy one since they announced it. Then it came out in America, and then months later it came out here. And I've been hanging my nose over it, and then I finally did the purchase. But yeah, otherwise we've just been having a chilled out day, apart from the 2 excursions we took to go out and purchase the things we purchased. We've just been kind of like pottering, sorting stuff out. I've been doing some programming, I've been watching films, and we're heading to bed. So yeah, well the other thing as well, it's like good to use it as a timer where you can say, hey Google, set me a timer up for this. But I actually don't like that because I like, shut up! How did you hear me? Quite sensitive. So yeah, we like having a timer where you can actually see it, so you can go, oh, I've got 2 minutes, that means I need to do this, instead of asking constantly, hey, how much time's left? But anyway, it's very sensitive. Look how snug that little bed looks. Oh, it's lovely and warm in there, doesn't it? I'd like to sleep in there. Anyway, Graham is being very squeaky this evening. Why are you so squeaky, Graham? If you hear like a weird, like, as if like one of a dog's chew toys, there's like squeaking in the background, it's Graham. It's been yet another Sunday where not much has happened, not much has gone past, it's just gone. What can you do? Graham has had an exciting day today. We cleaned out her cage. She had a run around in the hall again, and she came out twice today actually. She came out once for a house when it got all cleaned up, and then this evening as well. Looks like she'd come out again. Normally she's like, literally comes out once. She either comes out in the morning or at night. But look at her, she's hyped. Why is the usual day of chores, tidying up and stuff. We had a big blitz around in the bathroom. Bathroom is now nice and scrubby-dub-dub-dub clean. We've got a new shower curtain and everything. Living the fucking dream. Otherwise I've just finished off the Easter egg. But I still have Easter chocolates around. I've just got our special egg now. I say our, my special egg. Laura's finished all her eggs now. It shouldn't really surprise you that I've got Easter eggs chocolate still around, because we've still got Christmas chocolate around. Which isn't too great, because it's probably going out soon, out of date soon. Should really check on that. I don't really have anything to report here, I'm afraid. Past week, more or less, I've been excited about being able to change park and ride to the other park and ride, because I don't like the park and ride that I've had to go to the past couple of weeks and whatnot. But basically, because of some roadworks, the traffic to get out of that park and ride is a nightmare. Anyway, that was supposed to clear like the 16th or 18th. Played it safe and waited to the 22nd, and it's still there. It's probably going to take me a while to get home this evening, which is grand. You can drive there in less than 30 minutes, but leaving there in less than 30 minutes is impressive. So the one is closer, 45 minutes, and then 35 minutes-ish, maybe. Otherwise, this morning, using my Google Home, fucking awesome it is. I walked in and I was like, hey, how's my day? And it told me what was going on today. Gave me a little news bulletin. I was like, yo, play me some radio 2, and it did. Confirmed to me how long it would take me to drive to work. Obviously, it didn't give me directions. It mentioned like a road name, but I don't know what that road name is. It was like an A road. I need to learn those names. But yeah, so basically, you ask it, and then it goes, it's going to take you 30 minutes. And you're like, oh, okay, right, we need to rush then. Or, well, we're okay, we've got loads of time. And then when you get in the car, you either know where you're going to go, because you know that road name, or you just Google it again on your phone. Not sure how well that works if you go somewhere where there's like lots of different possible ways, or there isn't really a defining difference between all of the ways, if you know what I mean. So say if you've got like one way, it could be the M4, for example, or the A4. Or the A4 something, which I went on today. So like they're the big defining differences. I don't know how well that would work if they didn't exist. It's a beautiful day to go and sit in traffic in. You know, the problem with having a job you actually like is that I want to go home now and I want to solve the problems I'm having at work. And I should be working on my own project, and I shouldn't be working on work things at home. There are now like one thing I want to do because I want to get it done, another thing I want to do because I want to solve it for someone else, and another thing I want to do because I want to improve the thing I've already done. It's gonna bug me. The problem with programming stuff is when it bugs me, I can't focus on other things. Enjoying the sights of the countryside while queuing in horrendous traffic. We've bought Graham some sand for a little like toilet thing. Originally it's like a strange like potty training thing, and it comes with like litter, like kind of like cat litter style stuff, and the idea is that like early on in a hamster's life you're supposed to be able to train them to go to the toilet in that little bit, but we never got that far with Graham. What she does do is she like goes in there and like rolls around and scratches herself on it, and turns out sand is really good for that kind of stuff, except quite clearly not, because she hasn't given a fuck about it yet. Otherwise, we've had our standard Sunday of shopping and watching TV and stuff. There's like a TV programme on at the moment called The Trial, which is about a trial. Surprise, man. Like the entire thing is acted, and then they've got a jury, and I think the jury know it's all fake. But yeah, the idea is that you get to see like how the jury consider the crime and all that. It's going to be on for the next 5 days, so I'm interested in that. Otherwise, I've just been doing my own thing. But I've been thinking about this stuff that I'm like pondering for work and whatnot. The problems are that like my API gateway at the moment isn't very nice. It's very, very hacky, and we kind of want to swap it over to this different thing called Ocelot, and I haven't had time to be able to do it. So that's one of the things that I want to work on. The second thing I want to work on is just in general building up that API gateway. Because of how hacky it is, it's quite difficult to build it up in a nice way. There's quite a lot of repeated code, and the tests are a bit painful and all that kind of stuff. But the third thing is consuming the web API gateway. There are like 1,000,001 different tutorials online on how to create web APIs, but there aren't many that show you how to consume them. And obviously there's things like HTTP client, which allow you to wrap around a what's my joke? The APIs around that client and the HTTP response and the HTTP message and all this garbage is absolutely just that garbage. To the point where we're kind of like doing essentially string manipulation on the results in order to get it out. The UI, the URL is either being resolved in the API gateway. It's being resolved by Service Fabric, but in the main thing, it's going to be resolved not by Service Fabric at all. It's just going to be like hard coded in. Putting the message, if you're going to do something that's like we're doing a HTTP patch, for example, you've got to build up the URL, put in the ID into the thing, then pass in a body, and it's just really messy and really hacky, and it feels very like fragile, and it just feels wrong to do. I've been trying to figure out a way of getting around it. There doesn't seem to be very many nice APIs. There was something called REST Shop, which doesn't really exist anymore. It's kind of been, no one's maintaining it anymore. Like, surely it's a common occurrence that people have to consume a REST API. But yeah, because like normally I'm used to consuming stuff like SOAP messages, which are a pain in the arse if you're a human trying to use it, but code is really simple, except you've got to keep up to date your NuGet packages and whatnot. And then I had a brainwave of being like, if I was to interface with a third-party API, I would make a facade, and I'd go through a facade which I have complete control over, and I'd hide all the complexity of how you communicate with that third party in that facade. What if we made a facade for our own endpoint, which we can then consume in other projects? Within the gateway, we define a facade which basically gives you endpoints which you can talk to our gateway. Just like basic other methods, and then you can reference that via NuGet packages, so you can just pull in a reference and then go bam. So I hit the get method, right, with a certain ID. The NuGet package or our facade is then responsible for figuring out where it needs to hit, figures out the URL and all that kind of stuff, and it means you're doing it in one place instead of in 10 different places and 10 different controllers or what have you. It means that we still publish a public API gateway for other people, but because we built it, we have the ability to reference our own internal NuGet packages, and we make it easier for ourselves so that we don't have to mess about. It's mainly, the problem is, like, as soon as you start throwing NuGet packages around, why don't you just do SOAP? But yeah, I think that might be a good compromise in the sense that if it's internal to the API gateway, then the API gateway will need to expand that, like it's in control of when that's being expanded rather than an external party, and all that kind of stuff. I think that's a relatively good way about it, because you've got like a centralised place which is then responding to it. Then if we do a mobile app, we can use the same thing, and it can like handle error messages, it can handle retry policies and all that kind of stuff. I think that might be a good way to go about it, just to stop us basically duplicating the code everywhere. Or you could go even more generic and just have like a NuGet package that just kind of sets everything up for you, and then you actually do the request. But yeah, that's been something I've been pondering, you know? Yeah, it surprises me that I assume consuming web APIs is a common thing that normal people have to do. And it's good for like humans. It's quite easy to like set up something like Postman in order to do it yourself as a human being, but like actually consuming messages and like simple things like, where do I store the URLs? So like the namespace URL for me to communicate with that server. If I'm like building up the query parameters, like, do I hardcode that? Do I put that in a config file? How big is this fucking config file? Little things like that just become a nuisance, and especially if you're trying to maintain that across the entire project, where you're going to be making several different calls to different controllers to do different methods on that gateway. Obviously we then still have the problem of a gateway talking to other internal microservices. I believe the advantage of moving to Ocelot basically means it will turn that project into basically a glorified proxy server. And then the intention is when we need to do more complicated calls, we can pass it to something like an orchestrator, which will then use something like service remoting in order to directly call all of the methods a little bit easier when you need to start doing like, more complicated stuff. But that's down the road, but like I want to get this done, and like I know it's bad at the moment, which is why I'm kind of dubious to extend it, because I'm kind of building on top of basically a collapsing sandcastle. But yeah, so that's what I've been pondering. Ridiculously early today. We literally flew in. There was no traffic at all. I even went to the old park and ride. Well, my basic plan is now is every day when I'm on the bus going back to the park and ride, check the live traffic for the other route, because the problem is like it just says there's no cars on this road, go there, it's fine. Google doesn't know the road's closed, so it's like, hey, go down this road, it's so much faster than this road that everyone seems to be queuing on. But it's saying that because there's no traffic data, so there's no like green line on the route. So if I every day check for a time when there is a green line, or there's green and red, green and orange or whatever, that means that route's open, and then I don't get stuck in the traffic I got stuck in yesterday. That's my plan of attack. Otherwise, I'm going to be about 10-15 minutes early. I'm just going to head on in and get settled. Had a pretty good day today as well. We raced through sorting out the API gateway. That's all nice and finished. And I then sorted out the logging out functionality. So the client can log out. We previously done the server logs them out, but now the client logs them out. So job done. Now we're kind of scratching around for bugs until this other story can be finished by some of the people that are working on it, and then that unlocks the next story, which is like linear dependency stuff. An awkward point in the project where there's quite a lot of linear stuff. But it's all going well. I don't know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. I'm assuming bugs or getting to do a bit of a spike task to see if we can use this framework that we want to use for the API gateway. I don't know. Productivity extended onto this evening as well. I now have most of the complexity of my program all written. I'm just trying to write now a nice test for building the compilation details and test run details. Quite a complicated object that's being built because of the nature of what it is. It's like really the details is just a collection of results which are then generate their own results based on like they generate a summary of those results and all that kind of stuff. So I am just going through making sure that that's all nice. It's because I don't want to just go off and create factories for these things, even though they're just really dumb things. So I'm trying to write a test which is a good test where I'm not locking down the implementation, but yet also verifying everything properly and getting a good error message if it ever goes wrong, which is jolly good fun. I generally enjoy writing this kind of test because it flexes your ability to write a relatively complicated test without locking down implementation details and things like that, which is really good fun. And we've been very productive this week so far. We've been doing very well. Obviously it's only Tuesday. It feels like it's halfway through the week. What the hell? Stuck behind a bit of traffic today, boys. Really call this these videos exploring traffic systems around southern Britain, something like that. Also, my hay fever is picking up. I'm gonna have to start taking tablets soon. Oh, I'm so sneezy, and my nose is itching like a fucker. To be honest, this traffic is it's pretty good. We're doing well today, so it's not bad. Though I don't ever have this when I go the other way and get stuck in traffic there. But when I come this way and I get stuck in traffic, I always think about, because the reason I'm not cycling is because it's too hot. It's too hot, and I think I have to think ahead essentially and leave a shirt at work. Because you can fold up like normal clothes without it being obvious, but if you fold up a shirt and put it in your cycle bag and then cycle to work with it, then it becomes quite obvious quite quickly. Also, I have to have my laptop with me because I can't store my laptop at work safely. So that basically means I can't cycle at all, even if I wanted to. But yeah, it's so warm that I couldn't cycle. I'd just get really hot and sweaty and whatever. But then when I can't cycle, what do I think about? Fucking longboards. Oh god. Can't really cycle, or to be fair, maybe even longboard with a bag this fucking big. I had one of those days today where I've basically been I've been trying to work on something, but then I'm getting so sideswiped by other people asking me how to do stuff. that I actually didn't particularly get a whole lot done. Basically, we've decided to change the way our API gateway is going to work. We were aiming to use that Ocelot thing. Unfortunately, it's incompatible with Service Fabric, so we think it's going to be a lot quicker and easier. We could obviously fork it and make it compatible with Service Fabric. We knew we'd have to fork it and add stuff to it anyway, but we think it's going to be easier just to write our own middleware for it, because what we essentially want is quite simple. So that's what we're gonna do, methinks. However, while at home, productivity is at a max. Laura's gone to netball, as she does, on Wednesdays now, and I have just kicked off a run of the platform. Basically, as you know, I've already done this product. I've done it before, and I've got this far before as well. I've made a lot of improvements to it, the way that it works, as I migrated it to .NET Core, brought in a load of better technologies, and it's all working much better now. The difference is I basically didn't make the mistakes I made the first time, although arguably I did make a couple of them again. However, what I did do was, because one of the mistakes I made was the way that I represented the things that I'm testing as they floated around the system. I called them all the wrong stuff. Now I've kind of done it in a slightly different way, where you essentially get given a list of concept of a mutation's changed, basically. A mutation used to be the lowest common denominator, literally the change. Now, mutation is based on an entire file. So each file that can be mutated has lots of different mutants that live underneath it. And I'm trying to figure out how the results are going to look when they come out, because I need to map them into an object that makes sense to the user. At the moment it makes sense to me because I've just got a list of things that are basically categorized into the right summaries and whatnot. But yeah, so I'm currently doing a bulk run through, which I haven't done in a long time. That's why I've booted Atlas up, because Atlas does it much better. As you can see, this is quite taxing. We are on 100% of the CPU. But to be fair, we're pretty low on RAM. Active process memory is literally 85 megabytes, which is insane. My old platform had essentially a memory leak, and it got to about 2 gigs and continued to just kind of add. It added very slowly, so I never actually got it to the point where it crashed my computer, but it would have done eventually. But yeah, it's currently spinning up at 100% CPU as it is doing what it's doing, and it's basically just telling other things to do what it needs to do. It's essentially just an orchestrator. But yeah, so I'm going to look at what the results look like when they come out of it, just basically because I haven't run it in ages, so I can't really remember. And then I'm going to figure out how to massage that into something that makes sense to the user, because previously I did it on which mutations failed, but now that doesn't really make sense in the way that I've currently got it, so I'm going to have to figure out how to shape the object into something that makes sense to the user. That's my current plan. But everything else is now mapped. It's just this. It's just the actual results. I've got everything before the results, now the actual results. I'm trying to figure out what the next process is. Oh, well, no. The next thing I should work on is getting an output as it runs, and logging through the platform, so you don't have to wait forever to get it running. But I'm thinking that the next thing I want to do is integrate with Git, so that you don't have to do bulk tests anymore, and it will just test what's most recently changed. At the very least, what's changed since it was last ran. That's probably the better way to do it, because that way you can run it on smaller subsets and stuff. And then obviously we still have the bulk run, because this is a lengthy process. This is the problem. Well, especially when it's running on one machine. The throttle on one machine is I can only compile one thing at a time. At the end of the day, it don't mean squat how optimized my platform is. At the end of the day, there's a significant bottleneck at compilation. That's where you gain a fuckload by running compilation in Docker, Grid, Service Fabric style, fucking loads of them at once. You would say how many you want to run on, and then you'd be able to run them all in parallel. And I can run parallel test runs, it's just the compilation is the one that takes a while. So that's why it takes so long. And basically, the less you have to do that, the better. Anyway, the trial's about to start. And Laura doesn't finish. Laura's going to miss the first half of the trial. No. The side is that memory usage is literally flat. It's full on flat. Downside is that this process has taken a long time and it's not even finished yet. Hot damn, we may have to look into how we can make this faster. It might be the way that I'm chunking up the stuff and splitting it across threads. Previously, I may have done it better because I did it on a mutant level rather than a file level. At the moment, I'm given a file and I'm like, right, hey, test that file, basically. Previously, I was like, hey, here's a specific change that I can make to that file. Test that. It was like one level lower. Maybe that's what I need. Yeah, in short, I need to go through and I need to figure out, I need to get some output out. I need to figure out what's taking the most amount of time. It could be as simple as like I'm not managing my threads properly, and I'm not like, you know what I mean? It could be as simple as that. But I don't know what it is. I don't know what that is. It's bedtime. I've had the past couple of nights I've been gone to bed silly late. In traffic again, right? And the person in front of me is like, you know when you like flick your cigarette? When you like flick your cigarette out the window, she's doing it, but she's doing it like that. She's not putting the window like all the way down. She's just like putting her arm out right at the very top instead of putting it all the way down like I have. And it is rather confusing. I don't understand it. Also, this car is definitely watching me, aren't you? Oh no, she's not. She's just doing a makeup. So arguably, I cannot take the high road there. Officially the hottest day of the year so far. I've taken my first hay fever tablet of the year, and specifically because today I'm going out for a one-on-one with my manager. Every like 2 weeks or so I have a one-on-one with my manager and we go out for like a drink and then we walk around the canal and stuff for half hour before coming back. And I'm like, I need a hay fever tablet, man. I feel like the window is going to be opened today because the aircon just might not be strong enough, you know? I don't like weather like this. It doesn't ever need to be above 20 degrees, you know? Coming out the office is literally like stepping off of a plane. Guys, it's so toasty. It's so toasty. It's way too warm. We have had dinner and I'm about to sit down to some programming. I am just designing the objects that are going to return my results. What I was saying yesterday about my performance problem, I think what I've done is I've designed the concept of these things in my memory space as something which is nice to a user to look at, because you'll be able to look at it and go, oh, these are the problem file. It's split by file, so it's much easier to like read and discover what's happening. However, that just makes it a little bit less efficient under the skin. Though I doubt that that is completely the problem, it will definitely be the problem when I want to use 10 threads and then I just give one file and that's the only file where there's things in it. You know what I mean? So yeah, basically though, I'm just redesigning that. I'm going to come back to the performance thing later in a different branch, in a different task story thing, because I'm focusing on the results part. Otherwise at work we had a couple of different like meetings and stuff yesterday, and we also had, what were we doing? I've been working on some ASP.NET middleware, as we're going to be making ourselves an API gateway using middleware rather than using MVC, because MVC was a silly thing to do and it's way too heavy. But in the middleware it's nice and tasty, and we have the ability to funnel through to MVC, because you just basically put MVC at the end of the middleware if we can't route to it. So yeah, I've been redesigning stuff around the resolving like service fabric instances and whatnot so that we can communicate with them. That's by the by. Otherwise, Laura's going out tonight. She's having some food in town, and then she's going out with some work friends because one of them are leaving, and therefore I have the evening to do some work. And it's a tough decision between working in here, where I have my nice comfy chair and Atlas, i.e. to play music and whatnot, or working in there where there's a less comfortable chair, but I can talk to the Google Home. It's got to be said, since we've got that thing, I kind of want it in every room. I always feel like I want to talk to it. Like a strange nagging feeling, like, oh, I want to talk to it, but I don't really know what to say. You know what I mean? Like, all I want to do is control Spotify with it. But I've got a computer to control Spotify with, and also how much controlling do you do while it's on? You know what I despise thinking about? I decided that I would want to have files. Whenever I displayed a file name or a file path, I would convert that path, which is what I have, that's the data I have, the path, into a relative file path relative to the solution thing. Because as it's running around the system, this file like its exact location doesn't matter. It will give some information about the way that I test things, etc, etc. All you need to know is a relative file path. Using the file name isn't good enough. There's chances that you may have the same file name in different projects, in different folders, whatever, I don't know. It's like, hey, yeah, I'll create the, I'll convert it into a relative path. So essentially it's like source/folder/filename.cs. The problem with that is that means I need to know what the fucking base directory is all the time. And the amount is so, like, I've now got a list of results and I need to inject in the base directory into the bloody mapper so that it knows how to resolve that. It doesn't make sense to just pass in a test solution because I've got like 10 different instances and I'm just passing it in literally for that file. So do I pass it in for just one thing? For just the base path? And then I'm passing in a string and then a list of results. That doesn't, why? That shit fucked up, man. God damn it. Right, anyway. Hey Google, is it hot outside?
No, it isn't hot right now in Bristol. The temperature right now is 22 degrees Celsius.
Sorry, I think you may have misspoke. It's fucking 9:30. It's 22 degrees. What's not hot about that? 22 degrees in the day is hot, let alone at fucking 9:30 at night. Google. Also have to play the eternal battle of, do you have the window open and try and get a bit of a breeze coming in, or do you have the lights on so you can actually see? I think I've just done nearly 3 hours of solid programming. Bloody hell, I'm gonna have myself a cup of tea and then we'll sit down for stage 2. Why is it every time I make a brew I get a text from Laura saying she's nearly finished and she may want to come back soon? Said, you better not be the first to leave. You've got to enjoy yourself, girl. Don't be a... I know it's a school night, but don't be a big girl's blouse. Alright then, I'm gonna go pick up the bay. I managed to finish my tea, but I haven't got back to work since, unfortunately. So, I'm gonna go pick her up. The problem being that town might be a bit of a mess because the shopping centres were evacuated for a bomb scare. So I'm imagining Bristol traffic is not going to do well to that. So I'm giving myself plenty of time to go pick her up. I'll be alright like this, won't I? My holiday shoes. I shouldn't be able to walk out like this at 10:30 at night and still be hot. Is there a knack to driving on cobbles without it sounding like your car's going to fall apart? Are you supposed to go faster? Or are you supposed to go slower? Or what? If you go faster, it gets louder, but it feels less bumpy. But if you go slow, the car shakes. Or is a little bit worse for wear. Also, I'm aware of how long this video has gotten, ladies and gentlemen. However, I think I'm going to power on through till tomorrow. I'm not, that's crazy. I'm going to end this video here, ladies and gentlemen. Apologise for how long this is. I kind of didn't expect it. I thought I'd only been talking for little bits of the day. Apparently not. But yeah, nothing really to summarise on. Everything's going alright in general. Come back to what we are going to be doing in the next video is going to be really interesting though, because we're going to be going and doing some activities on our bank holiday weekend, which is coming up, which is why I was trying to push through till tomorrow so we can get bank holiday weekend in one video without having a Friday and nabbed on to the end. But Friday is the best day of the week anyway. So anyway, thank you very much for watching this video, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'll catch you later.